Hey, what's up guys? This is TBone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So in today's episode, I wanted to show you a couple of different deck options. I'm also going to show you how the full event deck works, but because I showcased a lot already during my stream, I'm going to focus less on that. Instead, I wanted to show you the team that I used for this event with great success, and if you are not using it right now, I highly recommend it. And also, before I get started, I wanted to also clear up any misunderstandings. In the previous stream where I went up to tier 6, I had enough gems to be able to get enough, to tier 6 for my cards. Those gems were purchased by myself personally. I spent $120 to get enough of the gems so that I could guarantee myself a event deck so that I could showcase how it worked, because I knew that it was going to be a brand new event with Gem Crush coming out. I wanted to really try that. So I just wanted to clear that up in case there's any misunderstanding there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the full event deck here. And the one I'm going to showcase here will have Ultimate Form. It's going to be an Ultimate Form plus 2 Master Collection cards, 1 Ultimate Form, and also 1 event card. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and use a 3-key attack here. And this deck, it really is really easy to, it's really easy to play. It has a 2-turn cooldown, but the placement is going to matter for me. So notice I put the ultra rare card on the right and the event card on the left, because you always want to activate your ultra rare card first. The reason for that is because it sets you up so that all of your rest of your cards will spawn gems this turn and next turn. And the other reason why I put the event card on the far left is because over time your Master Collection cards will spawn more power gems. And you want to have more Power Gem 5s on the board that get crushed into Power Gem 8s than having a Power Gem 2 that gets in the mix and ends up giving you Power Gem 7s. And so, and also it gives you the opportunity to not activate it at the end, and that way you don't sacrifice any Power Gem 5s. So that's the reason why I put it on the left. And so we saw it there, I think it was, I didn't notice the exact amount of damage it dealt there, but it's somewhere between 11 to 20 trillion or something like that, which is decent, right? But let's take a look at the team that I'm using and compare the difference, right? So here's the full event team, and it's quick, right? 2-turn cooldown, so you can use this every 2 turns, and you can match gems every turn, which is great. But in the Slayer event here, we need to be fast, and if we want to compete, we need to be able to deal damage to our bosses quicker, and we need to be able to deal bigger damage faster. And so here is the team, and I've talked about this combination for many events now, so this should come as no surprise that it's going to be Hard-Won Gorillas plus the Jailers and the Defiant Duet. So these 3 combination will always be very deadly in any Earth Slayer event. And if you have, and then put in Consecrated Wizardess as well. So anytime you have the event, Ultimate Form, you put it in there, suddenly you've got a killer combo. And I'm going to show you what this is going to be like. And in terms of the relics, this is what I've done. Because I have the 3-star, relic here, I just needed to have 2 of them in there to break all of the shields. And then I added more arcane relics to boost more of my damage here. So that's the setup I have right now. And we're going to go ahead and use a 3-key attack, or 9 keys attack in this case, for an Eternal Boss. I'm going to show you what my first turn damage is going to be like. Now, this will be variable because of the way that the gems crush. Sometimes it's, sometimes I'll get a huge amount of boost and sometimes not. But in this case, activate Defiant Duet first, then work your way to the left. And then afterwards, just make sure that you do a swap of the biggest power gem numbers. And let's see how much damage it can do. So we have 103 multiplier here, and our Hard-Won Gorillas dealt 133 trillion. This is pre-nuke. After this attack, it will go ahead and deal an additional 600 and over 600 trillion damage. Okay, because it will multiply by 5. And so it's going to be just, like about 665 or so, something like that, right? And so that in itself is going to be able to give you MVP in most of the cases, if not just flat out take out the Corellian bosses. And so a couple of things there, like we were able to do this basically by turn 1. And so because we were able to deal over 100 trillion damage, for a Corellian boss that also guarantees you 10% damage. So like in some cases, you might end up attacking and then the boss will die, but you've gotten yourself that 100 trillion. However, it's not guaranteed, like I said. It's just that when I add the Defiant Duet in here, it's more consistent. I consistently get about that kind of damage output. If you don't have Defiant Duet, you can put in another Master Collection card in there so that you can have more turn delay. And that will give you a similar output, although I found that with the Defiant Duet, the amount of damage I do is slightly higher and more consistent. And so here, let's see how much damage he dealt. So 127. So still, like you can see here, like it's just an amazing amount of damage output. Okay, and so if you're not using this setup, I highly recommend it. And this is where I would break it down. If you have the combination of the Defiant Duet, Jailers, and Hard-Won Gorillas, and also the event ultimate form, then well, there you have it. You probably are already using it if you have them. If you aren't, then you should. If you're missing any of the ingredients here, like really Hard-Won Gorillas, missing the Jailers just means you're not going to get as much damage. Like it's all about the Jailers attack boost. So if you don't have Jailers, you need to accept that. You need to understand like your damage output is going to be a lot less. Okay, a lot less without the Jailers, but it's still going to help having the Hard-Won Gorillas in there because you're always going to get the 5 times nuke damage. And so if you're going to use your event deck with a Hard-Won Gorillas, in this example, like I would actually prefer to take out this the event card here, and I would put in the Hard-Won Gorillas, and you just need to make sure that you put it as a leader so that it buffs itself also because it buffs all Slayers. And then now let's take a look at, a different deck, right? I guess before we do that, like if you don't have the event ultimate form, then you should be using the Unbreakable Sisterhood if you have it. It's all about increasing the damage of your Hard-Won Gorillas as much as possible. And so if we don't have any of that, then let's start testing out some decks. And I'm going to show you a deck that I think is very feasible, like very obtainable. Like if you let's say you just started where you just generally don't have a lot of good cards, well, here is one that will work really well because of Making You. Making You was a card that was made available to everybody in the game about 2 days, right? 2 days before the event started. And so everybody should have this card. And so I'm going to show you how to play this card and why it's so good for anybody who doesn't generally have a good card, because it's an amazing power gen spotter. And so to play this card though, you need to make sure that you do a first turn match. So you don't actually want to use up all your battle skills immediately. You want to wait. So this is the case where even though you should wait because you want to leave a power gem on the board and then passively spawn it the next turn. And in fact, you may want to actually spawn it. You may want to just wait and let it spawn again, because you're going to get it every turn. And so we're going to go ahead and spawn now. So now you can see we have a lot more power gems. And this time I'm going to activate the support card first, because this is, because what we're doing here is we're allowing some crushes, and we're also going to control the number of power gems we have on the board so we can sort of control where they go. And let's see how much damage we're able to do with this. All right. And so it looks like about 1.2 trillion or so, but we can do better. We definitely could better there. And let's go ahead and try this again. And let's see, because this is sort of like, what I would say our starting point. And if you don't have 2 event cards, then you could just bring in another gen spawner of your choice. But really, this is the starting point, and I think it's going to be centering around your support cards and Making You. And the goal here is if you don't have a lot of good cards, then we're going to focus on your platinum bosses, right? So the platinum bosses have about 5 trillion health, and I think that with this setup here, we could get you get you competitive in the platinum boss level, so that we could try and do some damage there. And so let's see now, if we were to change this up a little bit, if we were to activate this, and now we have some crushes. Now let's go ahead and activate more, and now we're crushing more again, but that's okay because we have one more activation still. All right, so now we actually got a power gem 8 in our midst here, and let's go ahead and see if we've improved our overall damage this time. All right, and so this is a guild boss that has 312 billion, but now we've definitely improved. All right, I saw about 490-ish overall. And so that is going to give us about 1.6 to close to 2 trillion. So if we can get close to 2 trillion damage, then that just means we just need about 2 attacks or so to take down a 5 trillion health boss for the platinum. And that is tier 4. Okay, that is not tier 4, that is prestige 4. So if we can compete at prestige 3 and 4, like, you don't need to go to prestige 5. And in general, like, if you don't have the deck for it, then I wouldn't recommend it either. But just this basic setup right here is gonna help you compete. And if you have, 2 making use, well, then you're completely, set there, because you're going to be, able to spawn that many more power gems quicker. And so from here, I think, it's all about just, manipulating and tweaking around it. Try out different gem spawners. Try out different cards in here, but make sure that you don't put Kira as the leader, because Kira will only boost in guild versus guild. All right, so let's try another one. Let's take a look and see if there's something else that we can do. And so we've tried the, United Taurs. Another card that you could potentially use is actually this card. I'm going to just go ahead and swap it out. Another card that you could potentially use is the card that we got as a collections card. That is the Striped Rogue, which is the which one is this? It is a Striped Rogue. I can't remember what type it is. Here it is. So the Striped Rogue is a collection card. So if let's say you got it from your vault pulls, it has 13 times bonus here, and it is a noble killer, so it doesn't boost the rest of the it will boost the rest of the cards if you put it as a leader. So in this case, you want to do a swap. Okay, so you want to swap it so that it can boost itself and also the rest of the other cards. And now let's take a look and see how this might play differently. So you're also gaining a bunch of power gem force from this card, and the thing is, you're going to lose a little bit of damage because the relics I'm using doesn't boost it, but depending on your relic situation, your damage output should be a little different. But what we're interested in here is, we're using a collection card, which I think is a really good card actually, and we're going to use Making You, which everybody has access to the best of our advantage. And so we're going to play this again. So we're going to do the same strategy where we are going to let our gems spawn. Okay, we're going to let our gems spawn again, and now let's decide. Let's decide what we want to do, because this is going to give us. I'm going to use it first because that will cause a bunch of gems to crush, and then we're going to go ahead and see here. So we actually crushed more, but we have power gem 8 in our mist, and so we're going to do 8 and 7 here. And let's see if we've improved our damage output there. So now you can take a look. Now we are in the trillions, right? So now right off the bat we have 3.3 trillion because of this change that we just made, right? And so I'm not going to be able to show you, like a full gamut of the different teams, but basically if you build your team around Making You and a good gen spawner, even with just support cards and event cards, you should be able to compete at the prestige 4th level at the platinum bosses with the 5 trillion health. And if you have better teams than this, if you have the ultimate form, then you should start considering using the cards that I showed here so that you can start to improve your damage. Remember, hard 1 gorillas will always give you that 5 times damage, 5 times nuke as a boost, so you should always consider using it. You can get it from the Proving Ground store, and also it's coming in the Drillfist Depot this weekend, and so definitely keep an eye out for that. And if you have the jailers and so forth, you kind of just keep building on top of that, then you're going to have a variety of different team options for the different damage it can do. Until finally, this is the team again that I highly recommend. You'll be able to see a huge improvement to your scores by using this team, and I look forward to seeing you up in the scoreboards and the leaderboards. So that's going to be it for me for today. Thank you very much for your time, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care.